Welcome to Hip Hop Movie Club, the show that harmonizes the rhythm of hip hop with the magic of movies. Today we're discussing Just Wright, the 2010 rom-com starring Queen Latifah and Common. We're three old heads who put their old heads together to vibe on these films for you. I'm DynoWright, podcaster, filmmaker, longtime hip hop fan, and my favorite song with Common guesting on it is Respiration from the first Black Star album.
I'm JB, 80s and 90s nostalgia junkie, longtime hip hop fan, and I still marvel at the use of the Ghetto Boys' "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta" in the movie Office Space. So good.
Oh yeah. I'm BooGie, a DJ, longtime hip hop fan, and I have actually seen this movie more times than I care to admit.
In this episode, we'll answer the question, is Just Wright worth watching? And you'll be a smarter hip hop fan, 5 key takeaways at a time.
Just Wright is a 2010 rom-com which depicts a love triangle of sorts between a chief physical therapist, Leslie, played by Queen Latifah, an NBA star, played by Common, and Leslie's friend and godsister, Morgan.
So we got 5 on it. Here are 5 key takeaways. Queen Latifah displays why she is on our Mount Rushmore of hip-hop stars turned actors. Number 2, Common shows that he's a solid actor. Number 3, the basketball scenes are just mid, like a mid-range jump shot. Number 4, the plot is quite formulaic and predictable, but hey, it's a rom-com. And number 5, there are a couple actresses whose skills and experience are underutilized. Pam Grier and Felicia Rashad.
All right. Let's talk about those 5 key takeaways as our basis here. So the first one, Queen Latifah. I mean, what more is there to say? She is on our Mount Rushmore of hip-hop stars turned actors. DynoWright, you want to kick us off and talk about our Mount Rushmore and why Queen Latifah's on it?
Sure. We, over the course of doing this podcast, we've discussed in live events and on the show here, which of the 4 of the ones that started out as rappers and transitioned to acting, who were the ones that go on the Mount Rushmore? And so in our discussions, Queen Latifah came up a lot as someone who was a successful rapper and then became a successful actress. And she's been in such a wide range of movies. It's had a lot of success. So she rated, for at least for me, at least in the top 4.
Oh, definitely. Boogie, I know you're a huge Queen Latifah fan. She's from your hometown. What do you got to say about the Queen?
Yeah, I have an unconditional love for the Queen. But that bias has nothing to do with why she's on our Mount Rushmore. I mean, she's a complete force to be reckoned with. She delivers in this movie. She gives you all of the emotions. She comes across as someone who's very likable and you want to root for her throughout the movie. She's like a very genuine person. Everything that she does in this film is something it's almost like she's doing everything for everyone else. And in the course of doing that, you're like, well, what about you? What about you? And then when things finally start going well for her, you're happy because of the way she portrayed that Leslie character in this film. I can go on, but I don't want to bore the listeners.
Yeah, to coin a phrase that DynoWright uses, she eats up scenes. Like, she's just so real and natural in front of the camera, and she can do it all. And she portrayed that in this movie as well. DynoWright, do you have anything else to add on Queen Latifah?
I'll add that she's talented rapping, of course. And it's funny, I talk to people sometimes, younger folks, nothing wrong with being younger, but they don't realize that she started out as a rapper. Like, oh man, there's a whole career you missed.
Yes.
Which is just as good as her acting career. And also, a talented singer. So there's 3 major talents that she has.
Yeah.
I've said this before too, but she's also great in Last Holiday with LL Cool J. And in Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell, plays a literary agent in a supporting role to Emma Thompson, and she's terrific in that too. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that she wasn't good in.
Yeah. I love Last Holiday. It's a great movie. I watched that a lot too.
It's one of my wife's favorites.
And the other rapper turned actor that is featured in this film is Common. So Common, number two takeaway, Common proves that he's a solid actor in his own right. Boogie, what do you have to say about Common's performance here, and how does he show that he's solid?
Yeah, I mean, Common, he definitely shows that he's a solid actor in this movie. I love seeing Common on screen. There's something about the way he comes across as a very genuine person. I've seen him play different roles um, in his career, but in this particular movie, he comes across as a genuinely nice guy in the film. Almost too nice, almost unbelievably nice. Um, and to be in a film with the veteran Queen Latifah, who's on our Mount, Mount Rushmore, to be on a film with Queen Latifah, who's on our Mount Rushmore, he holds his own, and the chemistry is definitely there, and it's very believable, and you want to almost see them together because of the way the interactions are, even as when it wasn't apparent that there were a couple. It was just like being friendly, but you could definitely see that he was putting his all into that portrayal of Scott McKnight, and I think that he was very good in this role.
I agree. I found Common's character, Scott McKnight, super likable, very charismatic. Like you said, I thought he was too nice, like an NBA star. Could they really be that nice, especially a two-time league MVP? Normally they have that edge, but maybe Steph Curry, somebody like that, but no one else. He was just so nice, and he could see through the shallowness of someone like Morgan. DynoWright, anything to add in Common?
Just to say that this is his first lead role in a feature film, and by that point, Queen Latifah has been in a lot of other things. So to hold his own against someone who's more experienced like Queen Latifah, he did really well.
Yeah.
So takeaway number three, the basketball scenes in this movie, I think they're just mid, like a mid-range jump shot, just mid. Okay. So there's NBA footage in here, or supposed to be. It's obviously a work of fiction. But I'll kick this off here, where I was thinking that, man, McKnight only had a couple moves. It's kind of like a fake left and roll to the right, hit a jumper, or an easy dunk. And I also thought the game winning 3-pointer, a buzzer beater to win the Eastern Conference Finals was a little anticlimactic the way that it was filmed. So if you're looking for, wow, I'm going to see a lot of NBA action, you're not going to see the type of action and the amount of action you see in something like Above the Rim. So to me, that took away a little bit from the film. Boogie, what's your take on the basketball scenes?
Well, yeah. I mean, the basketball scene. I totally agree with you with the basketball scenes. What I do like about the film, though, is that they actually did have some key cameos from some actual players and commentators and people who just generally are around the game. So that made it a little interesting. I love seeing Dwight Howard coming across as Mr. Goofy Man and a couple of and Dwight, he's just a funny guy, man. I love seeing the scenes with him because he's just so just tall and goofy acted, but phenomenal player. But him, and I see the interaction between there's like a friendly rivalry between Scott McKnight and Dwayne Wade. You see Rashard Lewis, Rajon Rondo was in there as well. Then we see Rod Thorne. I'm like, wow, they went for the big guns, and so it'd be stuff like that. And then also part of Scott's upbringing, well, throughout his career, younger as he was a younger player, was he actually used to play at the Rucker, and through his rehabilitation, there's a scene where Leslie takes him back to the Rucker, just kind of get him back to his roots and letting him know that, hey, listen, you're going through something, but look at these kids. These kids still love you, they still appreciate you, they still want to see you play. So you have them looking up to you. So let's push forward. So those aspects of the movie in connection with basketball, I really enjoyed. But I do agree that That the moves were they definitely weren't becoming of an NBA player. I mean, he can actually play ball, but there's difference between playing ball and playing at the NBA level, and you can definitely see the difference in his movements as he's dribbling up the court and doing it, trying to cross over, etc. And yeah, that shot they could have. I wish they would have shot that from a different angle, like maybe slow motion with somebody with a hand in his face or something, like, because you got D Wade playing D on you. D Wade's not going to leave you open for a shot like that. He's going to at least put his hands up in your face. You might get fouled or something, like that would have been cool or something. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on those ones.
Good takes, Boogie. DynoWright, what are your takes on the basketball scenes?
I thought the scenes up until the Game 7 sequence were okay. The Game 7 sequences were not okay. It was very perfunctory and just sort of shot without any drama to them. But again, this is a romantic film, not a basketball film or even a drama. So you sort of cut corners there where you can, and you sort of get to the point like he won the game. But other than that, I think the basketball scenes were just all right. I think I had more fun seeing the cameos and other figures in the basketball world, like commentators. Like, I'm here for all the Mike Fratello I can get.
The Czar, yeah, and Marv Albert. But like I said, I couldn't get over the anticlimactic nature of that. It was no like confetti, no huge celebration. It was almost like a game that happened in mid-season, a buzzer beater. It wasn't quite the pomp and circumstance that I would have expected. Yeah,
to go to the finals, Game 7 buzzer
that's
beater
at home.
That place should have erupted.
Yeah, especially the hero that had rehabbed all this time, and he's like the Willis Reed moment, kind of.
Yeah,
they should be carrying him off the court. Yeah,
they built up to that, and they didn't pay it off.
Getting paid off, right? To be quite blunt, the plot itself is quite formulaic and predictable. But hey, it's a rom-com, and that's the nature of a rom-com. So that's one thing to point out here as our fourth takeaway. Boogie, you want to speak on that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a rom-com. What can we say, right? But I mean, that the two of them are going to end up together. If you've seen the movie poster, I mean, as was the case with most rom-coms, the journey has a few twists and turns. Not really going to get too much into all of them, but I mean, even not being a rom-com junkie of sorts, I do enjoy watching the movie every now and then. And like I said, I do love the chemistry between Queen Latifah and Common when they're on the scenes together. And she's like, they're two of them my favorite MCs, and to see them together acting is pretty cool. But yeah, you're not going to get a cinematic masterpiece out of this one.
DynoWright, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, if you're hoping for something innovative, just keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, not to give away the whole plot, but you could see the way it's going. You have the overzealous, shallow friend who has literally devoted her life to marrying an NBA star and living that lifestyle. And you have the other friend who is your down-home, real one who has bad luck in the dating scene. And, oh, by the way, she's a physical therapist and is an NBA star. I could have predicted right away that, he's going to get hurt. He's going to rehab with her, and, there'll be some sparks. You know how it's going to go. So, but again, it doesn't mean you just throw away the movie, but like, if you want, on a cold winter day, you want a cute story with some real legends in the cast, Queen Latifah, Common, Pam Grier, Felicia Rashad, I would say it's like watching a sitcom episode. Innocuous, lighthearted, generally lighthearted fun, but very little suspense.
Yeah. Cuddle up against some popcorn and then just get a good, just watch something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Final takeaway, fifth takeaway, is we feel that there were a couple actresses cast in this film whose skills and experience were underutilized, specifically Pam Grier and Felicia Rashad. Boogie, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, you have Pam Grier, the legend, um, legendary actress Pam Grier, who's just she's almost a larger than life figure. Just just saying her name and just seeing her presence on the screen is just like wow. Um, and then you have Felicia Rashad, who was one time one of America's favorite moms. Played Claire Huxtable, like raised like a nation of millions under her tutelage, and like you don't see much of them, um, which is a little disappointing. Um, and I would have loved to see a little more of Pam Grier's character playing Leslie Wright's mother, and like there were some instances when you see Felicia Rashad, and you do see a little slight bit of the Claire Huxtable there, but like not as much. Like when with the Morgan character, I would have liked to see her kind of tighten Morgan up a little bit, like she used to get on Elvin in the show. But she didn't get a chance to. That would have been pretty cool to see. But yeah, I think that they could have probably utilized them a little bit more for their legendary skill set.
Yeah, I want to see Pam Grier do a little bit more like Jackie Brown. When Quentin Tarantino brought her back for Jackie Brown, I was like, yes, Pam Grier's back in the spotlight, and she's amazing. Like, she had all those great movies back in the 70s, and it was kind of like more of a nondescript role. She was the mother. She was there and supportive, but underutilized. What do you think, DynoWright?
I agree. I really think they basically just had Claire Huxtable play this role because, she kept Leslie honest, like she would any of the Huxtable kids, and there's more you could have done with that, and if there's more you could have done with the star of Pam Grier's stature. I mean, that role was really underused. I think we saw Felicia Rashad as Scott McKnight's mother, but really you could have done more with her. But yeah, yeah, you'd hope for more.
Yeah, I agree. I did like the role of Mrs. Wright. Mr. Wright. Lloyd Wright, playing by James Pickens Jr. He was very likable as the father, as Queen Latifah's father.
Yes.
Yeah, he was like a foundation piece for her, someone very supportive. Pam Grier was too, but I think Leslie really leaned on her dad for the moral strength. You could have had more from Pam Grier. Could have asked more of her.
Yeah, she was clearly a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
You see him constantly in the house that they hint that she had just purchased a home, and he's over there constantly doing little work projects around the house. Like unprompted, he's just there all the time doing something in the house.
Yeah.
And even when Leslie first meets Scott and is invited to the party at Scott's house, he's like, "Here, take the keys to my car." Gives her the keys to the Deuce and a Quarter. When things don't look like they're going to go too well between Leslie and Scott, he was very vocal in say, hey, if he doesn't want you, it's his mistake. You're a good person. Just kind of constantly uplifting her. Definitely a great father figure to portrayal on film.
Yeah. Going back to the sports cameos, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the late great Stuart Scott, the former ESPN icon. Great interview that he had with Scott McKnight, and the moment where Scott realizes how impactful Leslie was in his comeback, and he actually leaves the set after the emotional interview. I need to go somewhere. He has to go meet up with her, and I think because he had his contract was coming up, and he was deciding whether to go to Philly or stay in the Nets job, and it came up around the same time that she had the offer from multiple teams to be the physical therapist. or the trainer, so to speak, the athletic trainer. So yeah, it was great to see Stuart Scott. He really lived and breathed hip hop and infused sports and hip hop so well that he made it so enjoyable to watch Sports Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, we miss him.
Yeah, he was the one that got me hooked on Sports Center, and I would watch it every day just to see what he was going to say next. I'm like, all right, what is he going to say now? What is he going to say now? What is he going to say now?
Yeah,
It was just such an amazing commentator, and I mean, I think it's so good that the scene where Scott finally came to realization that he wanted to be with Leslie was when he was with Stu Scott, and it's just very emotional. Every time I see that scene, I choke up a little bit because of my affinity for Stu Scott and how much I enjoyed watching him, and just to see him in that few minute portrayal. Yeah,
so
definitely a highlight.
we should maybe put in the show notes like a YouTube clip if we can find of some of Stuart Scott's hip hop references, because I always look forward to those. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure that
there's got to be one with a bunch of them in it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, because that's my Venn diagram is sports and hip hop, and he was at the center of that. And I see some of the guys carry that on a little bit, like Scott Van Pelt and a few other guys. Like Scott Van Pelt did a great tribute to Phife Dawg when he had passed away, and I really enjoyed that. And again, sports and hip hop have a unique relationship. And Stuart Scott epitomized that. Yep.
Yeah, I think he was like the prototype. Like he busted the gate open, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, we could actually do that."
Yeah.
I think he just kicked the door open.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our 5 key takeaways that we hit you guys with. At this point, why don't we go around and rate the movie and answer the question from the beginning of the episode: is Just Wright worth watching? Boogie, would you say for this movie, I guess, bring that funky flick back?
Bring that funky flick back?
Or leave it in the vault? Is this movie worth watching?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it more times than I can count, so I'm going to just keep bringing that funky flick back because it's formulated, but I definitely enjoy watching it.
All right, DynoWright, put you on the spot. Bring that funky flick back or leave it in the vault. Was this movie worth watching?
I was going back and forth on this. I will bring this funky flick back. It's a cute movie. It's got some stargazing for the basketball fan of the late 2000s, early 2010s, and it's got the czar Mike Fratello in it. It's good enough for me. It's definitely worth watching, just for Queen Latifah and Common. Terrific performances. Queen Latifah is never not good in a movie she's in.
I will also say bring this funky flick back. It would not be in the top echelon of hip hop themed movies, but to both your points, legends in this: Common, Queen Latifah, Pam Grier, Felicia Rashad, and Stuart Scott, and the cameos: Dwight Howard, Dwayne Wade, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, stargazing. It's historical folks in this film that you should check out.
Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, BooGie, and DynoWright. Theme music by BooGie. We've got a bunch of live events in the first half of 2024 coming up. You can learn more at our website, hiphopmovieclub.com. Come hang with us. And whether you're listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. So thanks for tuning in.
Remember, don't hate, initiate.
Initiate.
Take that step.
Start
Make that move.
First step is the hardest.